Live with CDP Sports Talk, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor FM, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and TuneIn. Now, here's your host, Chris Pomay.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Season 11, Episode 10, Overall 560 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com, for the newest selection of new and pre-owned GM vehicles, along with their great selection of all-electric vehicles and Cadillac vehicles as well. You can call the dealership at 519-824-0210 and tell them Chris Pomay sent you, or you can email them at info@barrycullen.com. Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership has been family-run and operated here in the city of Guelph since 1969 and has been a major sponsor of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show the past 3 years. Good morning, everybody, on this hot, humid Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, and I'm looking forward to my guest today. This is her first appearance on our show, and her name is Amanda Goldstein Marks. She's a stand-up comedian, and she's also a co-host of her own podcast show called Sis Tell, and they've done it for over 8 years and 356 episodes. So we're going to bring Amanda on and talk a little bit about her comedy career and a little bit about her being a co-host of her own podcast show. Good morning, Amanda. How are you?
Hey, Chris. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well on this hot, humid Tuesday, July 15th already.
Oh, yeah. So my hair gets bigger by the day in the summertime. So we'll see what happens at the end of the day. I wouldn't be able to fit my hair on this screen.
In my case, it gets less and less, but that's why I wear the ball caps.
Yeah.
So how are you doing? How are things in your neck of the woods?
Everything's good. Been having a relaxed summer. I've been traveling a little for comedy, doing some podcasting, doing some vacationing, overall having a nice summer.
You just mentioned traveling. Where are some cities and countries have you been traveling to?
Well, I've not traveled outside the country this summer, but I went to Jacksonville for a show, and then sometime in June, and then my husband and I went to Destin, Florida, where we spend a lot of time, and then also had a show in Charleston, so we drove up there, just got back Sunday, just in time to make it to the Beyonce Cowboy Carter show Sunday night. So still recovering.
How was the concert?
It's just legendary. The production value is just insane. She is nonstop. She's so talented. There are so many costume changes and visuals, and it was incredible. And I feel like it was a once in a lifetime show to be able to sit in the audience for. I felt very lucky to have been there. She's an incredible talent. Jay-Z made a cameo. It was so cool. She was flying on a horse at some point. It was just incredible. It was incredible.
How many people were at the concert? And out of all the concerts you've been to, where would you rank this one with Beyonce?
Oh God. I don't know. The stadium was filled, so I don't know what the capacity is of Mercedes-Benz, minus the empty seats behind the stage, because obviously no one could see anything there. But it was, I don't know what the capacity is, like 100,000. I'm bad at estimating. Best concerts, though, I mean, it was definitely top 3. But the best concert I think I've ever been to, and I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan, so it was a Beastie Boys show, and actually a very small show, where I used to work for Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, and the Beastie Boys were coming to Atlanta. The Beastie Boys were coming to Atlanta, and I'm not one to call in favors, but I had heard a rumor that their manager had been pitching a show to the head of Adult Swim. So I went up to him, and one of the guys at Adult Swim and said, "Hey, I need you to get me into this small concert they're doing before the big concert." So there's a radio station called 99X, and they would do these ticket giveaways where there'd be like a 1 hour show before the show for 99 people. So he got me and my friend into it. And so we were in this small studio space with the Beastie Boys. There are only 100 other people, and people were, I don't know why, but like as soon as they opened the doors, people were just kind of like hesitant to walk in. So I'm like, what's happening? So I ran in and got right in front of the stage. And the stage was short, right? It was like on a riser, and with the amp, it probably went up to my waist. So Ad Rock is on the other side of the amp, and he's literally arm's length. And I know this because I was like a crazy fan, was like touching his arm because I couldn't believe how close. I couldn't believe how close I was to him. So I kept on being like, "Oh my God, I think I can touch him. Oh my God, I just touched him. Oh my God, I'm a crazy fan."
Amanda, I'm going to put you on the spot with this question. Since you like the Beastie Boys, what's your favorite Beastie Boys song?
So I really, on Paul's Boutique, there's this song at the beginning called B-Boy Bouillabaisse, which is just like a mixture of really short songs all together. But I love the Root Down EP. I love Root Down. I mean, it's really hard to choose. It depends what I'm in the mood for. Eggman, I can't choose. It's like asking me to choose my favorite child, which is my dog. My dog's my favorite child. So there we go. But
Speaking of speaking of
yeah.
dogs, I love dogs. What's your dog's name and breed?
So we have 2 dogs. We have a chocolate lab who we rescued when she was 6, and I'd say she was a rescue, but she came from a very nice family situation, so we knew her history. So she was not a traumatized rescue dog. She was just an overweight rescue dog, and her name is Kabu, and we call her Boo Boo for short, and that's the name she came with. And then we had another dog named Milo who was also a rescue. He was a Great Pyrenees, and he died a year ago in August. And so then after that, I got a puppy. It's crazy. Everyone thought we were crazy, but we rescued a puppy from this litter that my friend rescued the mom who was in a hoarding situation. And then she helped the mom she was like the puppy doula. She was the dog mom doula. And we got one of those puppies, and he's half black lab, half German shepherd, and his name is Wally.
Speaking of Atlanta, my radio show was actually on a station in Georgia for almost a couple years. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Noonan, Georgia, but it was on 99.1 WQEE for a couple years until the station owners unfortunately pulled the plug on the station.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have heard of Noonan. That's pretty cool.
And by the way, I've had a few other comedians on from the Atlanta. I'm not sure if you have heard of these people: Arma Benoit and the other one, Amy Brown.
Yes, I know both of them. Yeah, Amy just put out a comedy special called Indoor Wife, which you can find on YouTube. I travel with her a lot. We do a comedy tour called Moms Unhinged. So throughout the country, which the woman who produces it is out of Colorado, but there are about 35 of us in her roster, so to speak, that she books around the country. But Amy and I end up on a lot of shows together. And Arma is also a fantastic comedian.
Absolutely, and I've been very lucky with my guests. Speaking of Moms Unhinged, do you feel one day that Moms Unhinged could travel internationally at some point?
Yeah, I mean, they've been yeah, I think I'm trying to remember if there's been a show in Canada or not. I think she just has to figure out the business side of that because there's just tax repercussions. So, I mean, that's like it's a whole thing. So, I think it makes it a little more complicated to do that. But I don't see why not. I think it could go international. We've gone off the continent, so they've had a show in Alaska. I mean, it's still part of the United States, just not continental United States. But I'm like, if we can get to Alaska, we can go to Canada. But again, it's just from a business perspective. I think it probably makes it complicated.
Yeah, the comedy industry over here is great as well. And I just was in Toronto a couple of months ago and I saw Mary Kennedy perform at Second City. And Second City is like legendary here, like in Chicago and New York as well. And we've had a lot of great comedians. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot, Amanda, since you're from Atlanta, Georgia. What makes Atlanta such a great city and Georgia a great state for doing comedy?
Well, I think the Atlanta comedy scene is pretty diverse, and there's a lot of different opportunities. There's a lot of talent. There's a ton of shows. I think it's harder to do comedy in New York and LA because there's a lot of pay to play, or you have to bring people in order to get a spot. In Atlanta, you can throw throw a microphone at a distillery and there's a comedy show there. There's just a ton of opportunities, and I think it makes it easier to grow as a comedian, and improve your skill set because you can get up more.
How many years have you been a stand-up comedian now?
I've been a stand-up for about 11 years.
I'm going to put you on the spot with this question. How much do you feel that you've improved as a comedian or evolved as a comedian over those 11 years?
I mean, I've definitely improved. I mean, if I look at the first time I performed, it was an open mic for the bigger show, but I took a comedy writing class. So it's basically like paying to be part of like a workshop. And we were given assignments and brought writing to it, and then improved over, like, I think it was like a 6 or 8 week period. And then for comedy graduation, we performed in front of 300 people at the Atlanta Improv Theater, which doesn't exist anymore. But that performance, which I have on tape, is just very theatrical, I would call it. It's just, it feels to me very scripted. And I think I've gotten more conversational, and I'm still anecdotal, and it still feels Amanda, but I feel like a better version of myself.
Amanda, for those people that are watching the show live stream or on audio, and they're thinking about getting into the comedy industry, what advice would you give to them from your experience in your 11 plus years?
I mean, I would just say you have to do it. I think a lot of people are hesitant to get up on stage, and you just have to do it. And I would go, if it makes you more comfortable, I would go watch an open mic and take a lesson from all the open mic comedians that are up there, and whose flow you like, how they're writing, and just start writing. You have to kind of always be writing also. And there are comedians who you will see perform who make it seem like it's all improvised and they're just coming up with that material on the spot. And maybe some of it is, but you really do have to plan. And I would also say stick to the truth. I mean, there's tons of comedians who, not that my comedy doesn't have hyperbole or an exaggeration of the truth, but I think what's going to make your take unique is you, right? And your own unique experiences that you'll bring to it, because there are so many premises that every comedian has, and it's like, but how do you make it different? And it's based on your experience, because no one is you.
How important is the writing aspect of the comedy industry? And also, in your opinion, Amanda, in 2025, what makes a good comedian these days?
I mean, I think it's what makes a good comedian. That's up to the audience. It really, I mean, it's someone who's just always writing, but like, I've seen people who are fantastic writers, and you hear it in their material, but they're just okay performers. So I think it's just a mixture of being comfortable on stage and being a good writer. That being said, what is comfortable on stage? Because there are comedians who are super awkward, and that's their persona, and it plays really well on stage. But then there's a difference between that sort of persona and someone just acting like they've memorized their material and they're sticking to a script. So, I mean, I think it's really up to the audience to decide what a good comedian is.
How important is ad-libbing as a comedian?
I mean, I've improved my material by ad-libbing. I'll come up with tags that I didn't have before through ad-libbing on stage. I also sometimes you don't know how the audience is going to react to something, and I think it's important to react to them and not ignore an unusual response, right? It's like and there's a lot of, I think, actors in LA and New York who'll take stand up just to add it to their resume. But in that situation, I would think of the audience as like your scene partner, right? Like it's like you can't ignore how they're reacting or responding to you, and they want to be a part of it. I think that's why I also prefer performing in smaller venues where I can connect with the audience and I can see their faces. And I've performed in theaters where there's 400 people there and maybe you can see the first row, and I hate it. Like I don't like performing to avoid. I want to perform like I'm in your living room. I want to come sit on your lap, give you a hug.
Now, I've had some other comedians in the past on my show as well. They've told me it's harder to perform in front of a smaller audience than a larger audience. What are your thoughts on that?
I prefer it. I prefer a smaller audience. I mean, it's percentage-wise, if you're performing in front of a larger audience and only 10% of the people are laughing, that's still 30 people. And then laughing can be contagious. So in that sense, right, it sometimes can be easier. But and so in the smaller crowd, like again with the math, if there's only 35 people, then you're dealing with around 3 or 4 people who are laughing, which is not as fun. But I mean, I think it's just preference. To me, it's easier to perform to a smaller audience. One of my best audiences, only 8 people were in the audience, and they were engaged. So I don't think it really necessarily has anything to do with the numbers, but how engaging they are with you, and if they're into what you're saying and you're connecting with them. And from my experience, I find it easier to connect when I can make eye contact.
How long does it normally take for you to gauge an audience mood? And have you ever experienced stage fright or seen another comedian just freeze up in front of an audience?
So it's I kind of like to I like to gauge the audience before the show starts. And I've definitely, like, one time I did a show where it was like a variety show and I was performing with burlesque performers, and I had a set in my head of what I was going to do. And then when I got there and I saw how rowdy the audience was, I quickly changed my approach, right? And I chose the material that was more interactive, that was a little dirtier, just because I felt like that's what they wanted. But there's definitely times where the audience is down, right? The energy is low throughout, and I'm hoping when I get on stage, I can bring that energy up. And when I book shows, I really try and do a mixture of comedians with different personality types, because there are comedians who are lower key, and sometimes the audience becomes lower key, and there's other comedians who have higher energy. And I think it's important to mix that up as you're not only booking the show but creating the lineup. But I've had situations where I'm performing, and if I have enough time on stage, I'll try and pivot my material if I'm sensing they're either, oh, they're more conservative than I thought, or they're really rowdy and I need to get them to get their energy out. So I'm going to do this material so they can get this out of their system. Now, as far as stage fright, and I get this question a lot. People are like, how do you get over stage fright as a comedian? And I'm lucky because I don't really get stage fright. I love being on stage. I've always, since I was little, I've been just drawn like a magnet to the stage. I love microphones. I've always like, that feeling of like when you have a remote control in your hand.
Yes.
Like, and you're like, even if you're watching with someone, you're like, oh, I need the remote in my hand, even though we're not changing the channel. That's how I feel with a microphone. Like, I love having a microphone. I love being on stage. It brings me a lot of joy and happiness. And so not that I've never gotten nervous before, but it's usually like a minute before I go on stage, and not all the time. So, and sometimes I get nervous because of not necessarily the audience, but because of who I'm performing with is making me nervous because I want to, it's like wanting approval from your colleagues, right? So that it's more of like that feeling. But what I try and do is to get my nervous energy out by when they're like, welcome to the stage, Amanda Marks. I'm like, woo, I woo with the audience because I feel like that gets all that nervous energy out.
When I started this 5 years ago, I was also doing some camera work too for a local cable company. Never done it in my life, and I was nervous as anything. And the producer told me, if you're not nervous, we don't want you here, because nervous is okay before doing a live performance, whatever you're doing, like a
Mm-hmm.
TV broadcast, comedy, or whatever. Because the nervous means it's not a bad thing, and it can actually kind of make you force you to do even a better job. And once the camera's going, just like doing stand-up comedy, I'm sure it just kicks right in and your adrenaline kicks in as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to rephrase in your mind what it means to be anxious or nervous about something, and whether that's going on stage or anything in life. Like I say to my kids and other performers, if you're nervous, that's okay. That means it's important to you, right? That's all that means. That means this is an important moment to you, and so you want to do well. And as long as you've prepared for that moment, you'll be okay.
Amanda, do you have any rituals or superstitions before a live performance?
No. I would say my only ritual is the wooing. The wooing that I do as I'm getting on stage and they're like, "Woo," and I'm like, "Woo." I might do a little dance. If there's good intro music, I'm definitely dancing for a few minutes, not a few minutes, for a few seconds. That would be a lot. A few minutes would be a lot on stage of me dancing. I'm not cutting into my time for a dance unless the music's really good. I might consider it.
The word I wanted to use with you too is, whatever you do in life, whatever career you're doing, it's important to have a passion. And Amanda, just talking to you on here for 20 minutes, I can tell how passionate you are about the comedy industry.
Thank you. Yeah, I love performing. I it's that's what makes me happy is just performing and making people laugh. It's not I mean, I know it's definitely like a form of attention, right? But it's not that comedians are like, I need attention and that's why I'm on stage. It's I need to entertain people. And it's a slightly different thing. But I've always just felt this urge just to entertain. And I've all been trying to figure out, what is that thing for me? Is it being in school plays? Is it acting? Is it being in front of the camera? Is it social media? Is it stand-up, podcasting? And I don't think it has to be one thing, but I really enjoy stand-up because it feels like something I have more control over versus like waiting for someone to cast me in their film or TV show or whatever. And podcasting also, it's something that I have control over as long as my sister and our schedules meet.
Speaking of your
Scheduling is the
podcast,
only thing I don't. Yeah.
speaking of your podcast, tell my audience a little bit about Sis Tell Podcast and how you came about it and working alongside your sister Allison.
Sure. So Sis and Tell is a weekly 30-minute comedic podcast that I do with my sister. We're in season 10. We've been doing it for 8 years. We were about 8 years ago or a little more, we were on a phone call and I think Allison said, we should record our conversations. They're so funny. And of course you think yourself as being funny. We're our own best audiences. And I was like, yes, we should. And like a week later, we had a name, a logo, a website, and podcasting equipment. And we just started recording. We kind of just figured out the format as we went. And our biggest piece of advice to people who want to start podcasts is you don't let perfect get in the way of good, right? You're nodding because and also keep it And also the KISS method of keep it simple, stupid. Like podcasting could be as expensive as you want it to be. And when we first started, our headsets were like, we called them the Time Life operator headsets, which is kind of similar to what I'm wearing now, although it feels more like I'm a pilot. But
I'm wearing gaming headsets.
Yeah, right. Mine looks more like a gaming headset now, and it's a better quality. And I've got a mixer, a Focusrite mixer. But we just had like what looked like Walkman headsets with like a tiny microphone. And but I think with podcasting, the sound equipment, I think your sound needs to be good enough where it's not distracting to your whatever story you're telling. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to go in there and make sure the audio levels are perfect unless it's distracting. And we use GarageBand to edit. I use iMovie to edit all of our promos, right? When we're in,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, by the way.
Yes. And we happen to just be on the same page without even talking about it, about what each of us we're going to manage, which is not normal. Like if you're gonna have a co-host and a co-producer, like y'all got to sit down and talk about who's managing what. But Allison and I, even though she's my older sister, we're 7 years apart. It's like sometimes we have one scary brain and we're on the same page. But we started the podcast not only because we thought it would be funny, but but also because it's her punishment. It's her punishment because the first 18 years of my life, she ignored me. So now she's like a terrific sister, and we do have a middle brother. I feel like I have to give him a shout out because people are like, you have a brother? Yes. And he's like the funniest of all. He's like Bob Newhart, funny. So he's wonderful. And sometimes once in a while he'll make a cameo. But so Allison has dedicated to podcasting with me for 18 years. So she's got 10 more years to go and then we'll wrap the podcast.
356 episodes. That's impressive. And you guys have been doing it for over 8 years. And people think starting a podcast show is easy. It's not. I do 3 shows in total, including 2 as co-hosts. And I love doing this because it's a passion of mine. And what have been some of your most memorable episodes and guests so far? And where do you see your show going from here?
So we do our show for fun. And because of that, we don't really, the guests we have had on are more about furthering our storyline. So we had our uncle on, probably, I think it was season 1, to talk about this bar that our great grandfather and our grandfather ran in downtown Montgomery called the Red Bell Cafe, to kind of tell his version of it because he started working there when he was 16. And there were, there was a shotgun behind the counter and there was a pool hall, and it was a little sketchy area. And our uncle just added to some like family flavor by telling that story. And that's probably one of my favorite episodes. And then also we had this, like, I wouldn't even call it a B storyline. I call it a C storyline of my sisters. It's like lightly stalking the entire cast of Friends. And we are trying to track down Courtney Cox, who grew up in Birmingham and went to and also more specifically Mountain Brook, where we grew up. And so because it was such a small community, we were able to bring on people that knew her throughout life. And we kept on trying to get closer to her, but that didn't happen. And that was, again, very early on in podcasting. I think that was year 2, maybe even part of year 1 of podcasting. And since then, we don't really have guests on, unless it's like a family member, and we're always surprising them by being on the podcast. But they're definitely memorable moments. My parents had a liquor closet, not even a cabinet. They had a liquor closet that was just the front hall closet that also had all the coats, and they kept all the liquor up there. One time I was home and they're like, do you want a bunch of this liquor? I mean, literally it was like 40 or 50-year-old bottles of liquor, and not in a good way. Like there's like things like limoncello, like stuff like you should have in the refrigerator, like things that would poison you. You'd get like botulism for it. So we did a podcast where we had like a taste testing of that, and that was fun. We had another one where there's this cookbook called, coincidentally, Cook and Tell, but from our synagogue that we grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. And it was from like the late 70s, this cookbook. And my mom gave us all a copy of it. So I went and did like a little recipe roulette. And then we tried to track down the person who made this recipe, it was called, what was it? It was a Frank's and hot potato salad recipe by Bertha Levine. And and I was like, how did this end up in a Southern Jewish synagogue's cookbook? Like Frank's and hot potato salad. Like, who eats that? I wanted to know about Bertha Levine. I wanted to know the history of the cookbook. We tried to ask my mom, and she asked around, and we were basically told to leave Bertha's family alone. There was some, like, I don't know what the history was, but they're like, don't do it. Don't reach out to Bertha's family. Just leave it alone. I'm like, okay, oh my God. What happened with Frank's and hot potato salad? Did it destroy the family? I don't know. One day I'm going to make that recipe, Chris, and I'll have you over for dinner.
Absolutely. I'm on my way. I love food, by the way. How often do you guys record an episode, and where can my audience find your show on platforms and a website?
We usually record it once a week, but Allison and I both travel for work, so there will be times where, and she doesn't bring the equipment with her. I'll do it. I'll record remotely, but she's like, I'm not doing that. So sometimes we'll skip a week, or usually around December, we'll go on hiatus for like 2 or 3 weeks. But usually it's a once a week thing. We record every Thursday morning, and then we release it on Fridays. You can find us. Our website is sisandtell.com, but you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. But you can find me on all the social media channels using my account name, which is Mall of Amanda, like Mall of America.
And I've already subscribed to your YouTube channel as well as your podcast. I'm looking forward to listening to some episodes.
Thank you.
Amanda, I know we're short on time, but do I have enough time to play your little video clip from your website?
Yeah, I'm interested to know which one you chose.
It's the one that was on your main website from Panama City Comedy, if that's okay?
Yes, that's great.
Okay, well, thank you. 1 second. And your YouTube channel, your website is mallofamanda.com. And we're going to play this video right now. Just let me know if you can hear the audio.
So my sister and I, we look so much alike. Always think that we're twins, except her hair is more straight, while my hair is more like pubic. Thank you, sexy one. But y'all, it's really just a nice way of saying that I look slutty. But I am not slutty. Like, I was having sex in high school. I was having sex at Jewish summer camp. But that was a mitzvah. That was a good deed. You should have seen the guys. It was a good deed. But I do tend to dress inappropriately, and most of the time, I really promise it's like completely by mistake. Like, I've left the house wearing what I thought. I really thought it was a dress. It ends up it was more of like a top, like a crop top. I'm walking around like Winnie the Pooh. The other day I was wearing these really cute leggings. At least I thought they were leggings. It ends up they were footless tights. And the dead giveaway should have, besides the fact that they were like see-through, is that they also have a crotch patch as tights too. But they were from Target, right? They were from one of the guest designers. I thought it was a design element. And then y'all have those sports coats with the patch patches on the elbows, and I was like, finally, women, we're getting our own patch. The crotch patch. Down with the patriarchy. Is that how that works? Kind of felt like a Girl Scout also, and finally earned my patch. Do we have any Girl Scouts in the audience? I'd like to know, what could I actually do to earn a crotch patch? Is there some way?
A Boy Scout?
Yeah. Specific, very specific cookies, a different kind of cookies. Yeah. And then one time I was wearing, this is probably like my favorite blouse. I love this blouse. It's like this white blouse with this black fur trim and these brown spots. And it ends up that I was actually just naked. Yeah. It was a super uncomfortable PTA meeting. Mostly because my kids don't even go to that school. They're like, why is that naked lady here again? But I do have real hobbies. It's not just going to PTA meetings naked. Like I do other things naked and clothed. But yeah, like I just finished a marathon. Come on, y'all, clap it up. I just finished a marathon of The Walking Dead. Yeah. Yeah, just rewatched like 7 seasons of The Walking Dead in about a week's time. I know. It's what I call Costco-style TV watching. In bulk. While the kids are feeding me food on toothpicks. But yeah, because it was a family like events. The kids, they got super involved. They made signs. They're like, Mommy, please pay attention to us. And they even pretended to be zombies. They're like, feed us, we're hungry. Yeah, I'm an excellent mother. I'm so good. I feel like I've learned a lot about life being a mom, and I feel like being a parent is a lot like being a prisoner. It really is. No, they're the riots. Yeah, riots. We have riots. They can break out at any given moment. They use makeshift weapons. They're the threats. And I've heard everything. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to lick your face. And worst of all, one of my kids said to me, when you die, I'm going to get your money and your jewelry. Which, mea culpa, my fault for reading them my will and testament as a bedtime story. But and then there's the privacy. I feel like I'm always being watched while I'm showering, while I'm getting dressed. I've woken up in the middle of the night with 2 pairs of eyes staring at me at the edge of the bed. It's actually my mother-in-law. That's why you don't live 2 blocks away from your in-laws. So,
thank you so much, Amanda, for letting me share that clip courtesy of your website, mallofamanda.com.
Oh yeah, thanks for choosing a good one. That was a good show.
I always like to try to show off my guest talent, and I saw it on your website, and I thought it was a good video to share.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
We're getting short on time, so I'm going to make this really quick here. What's one word to describe yourself as a comedian, and what are some fun facts or a fun fact about Amanda Goldstein Marks?
Sure. One word, how to describe myself as a comedian, Southern Jewish, energetic, mom, comedian there. And fun facts. I drink so much LaCroix that my pee is carbonated. Is that fun? It can be kind of fun peeing accordingly. There's my fun fact. I get things lost in my hair. I can pull things out. Extra microphones. Candy bars, anything you might need, handy wipes, hand sanitizer, because I'm a mom. Some moms keep things in their purses. I keep things in my hair. Those are some fun facts.
What's your favorite food in Atlanta? What makes Atlanta and Georgia so great for food? And obviously being the peach state.
Well, we live in a city right outside of Atlanta called Decatur, Georgia. and it is about 4 square miles of just deliciousness. And it's hard to leave. I live life like I'm in the Truman Show. It's hard to leave for so many reasons. One, traffic's very bad, so you got to be strategic about when you're going anywhere, or you can be stuck in traffic for a mile for 90 minutes. But there's so many fabulous restaurants in Decatur to come down here and eat. There, we've got Decatur Square. There's cute shops and just a lot of stuff to do. My favorite thing to eat, well, I'd say that it just depends on what mood I'm in, but I'm really just a sucker for Mexican food or anything Latin. There's a place called La Fonda, which is actually a chain, but it's a local chain, and I'm really into pozole, which is soup, and I'm even eat it during the summertime. So give me queso and chips and I'm a happy girl.
Queso. Oh, I love Mexican food, especially fresh, authentic Mexican food.
Yeah.
And finally, I do this with all my guests as we wrap this up. Ask the host. I screwed up on my graphics here. So ask the host CDP a question segment. And where can my audience again follow you on social media, your website, and maybe some of your upcoming live shows?
Sure. So you can follow me on social media at Mall of Amanda. I've got I would say the show I'd like to send y'all to is I'm going to be doing a fundraiser show for the Lola, which is a women-focused workspace that they're raising money for, and that's in, I think, August 11th, and it's going to be a fantastic show. Come out to that. Just go look up the Lola and Comedy Show, and hopefully that'll come up somewhere. And what that's anything else? You can always listen to me on Sis Tell. And my sister, who, by the way, she hosts a show for PBS. So she brings those skill sets also. So I'm a comedian. She can be a little more serious, but not on the podcast. She's not. She's the quirky one of her friends. I'm even the quirky one of the family. So we bring a lot of weirdness to the podcast. It's pretty fun.
That's okay. And maybe in the future, if you do come back on, maybe I can have your sister come back on as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
And do you have a question for the host before we wrap this up?
Sure. I would say, what is the craziest answer you've ever gotten from one of your guests that you've had on the show?
Well, I've done almost 600 episodes, so that's a really good question.
Or most memorable?
Most memorable, I would say, yourself, including yourself. I would say probably the gentleman that has played the Philly Fanatic, the mascot of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the original guy, but he's been doing it for 38 years. And he came on my show. His name's Tom Burgoyne, and he came on and talked to me for about a 38 years career as the Philly Fanatics. Every guest I have on here is unique and has a great story. So I don't really have a favorite. I've been very lucky to have a lot of great guests, but including yourself and the Philly Fanatic. And I'm just working hard to get back onto radio, and I love what I'm doing here. And Amanda, I know you're short for time, so I want to say thank you for giving us some time out of your busy schedule. And I'll definitely be following you on social media, and looking forward to your next podcast show with your sister Allison. And give me a little bit of time today, and I will send you the full video, the audio, and I will edit the video into reels and clips, because you know our society nowadays.
That's right.
Strengthen attention span. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on. Have an awesome rest of the week.
You too. Thank you. We'll keep in touch.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that concludes season 11, episode 10, overall 560 of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, brought to you by Barry Cullen Chevrolet Dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Auto Mall. Check out their website, barrycullen.com. The next Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, sponsored by barrycullen.com, on Monday, July 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern, with my special guest, Susan Sager. She is a comedian and actress out of Los Angeles, California. So Monday, July 21st, 7 o'clock with Susan Sager. a comedian and actress out of Los Angeles, California. And speaking of talk shows, we have the next Argo Balance podcast show with co-hosts myself, Chris Pame, and Nick Small tonight, Tuesday, July 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 on the West Coast, with a special guest from TSN. So before you watch the Major League Baseball All-Star Game tonight at 8 o'clock on Fox and Sportsnet, check out the Argo Bounce podcast show with Nick Small and myself, as Nick and I are back from a bye week, and we're going to talk about the Argos' last loss, 51-38 to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and we're going to preview the Argos' upcoming road game on Thursday night, July 17th, taking on Davis Alexander and those 3-2 Montreal Alouettes. So Nick and I are going to break down the loss to the Hamilton, preview the Montreal game, and we're going to give you guys our Week 7 CFL picks from around the league as well. And before we wrap up this show, guys, I was in Hamilton on Saturday night, courtesy of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I covered the Cats' 23-20 win over Ottawa as freelance media. And I'm going to play you a clip of a post-game interview I did with Bo Levi Mitchell. So just bear with me, and I'm going to play a clip with Bo Levi Mitchell, who led the Hamilton Tiger Cats to a comeback win against the Ottawa Red Blacks, 23-20. And him and Kenny Lawler have developed a really great rapport together. So just bear with me 1 second, and I'm going to play that clip from my YouTube channel. Chris Pame live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. You can subscribe and hit the like notification. And I'm going to play the clip right now. Just 1 second. Bear with me. And this is from Saturday night's Hamilton win over Ottawa in a very good game, 23-20. This is Bo Levi Mitchell, the future Hall of Fame quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Good to get opportunities with the game on the line, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best part of football. I mean, any sport, right? It's like being the closing pitcher coming in the ninth inning for the save. Especially when you didn't have your best stuff all day. It's nice to, be able to do something with your feet there and then make a throw to win the game. Just so appreciative of everybody sticking behind me, and the receivers making the plays they did, a line giving us the time, and honestly, that's a hell of a defense. They had some new stuff, and we had to fight. So it was awesome to see that on the back of the defense and special teams. PD, unreal, right? The entire defense just all night. Wooden and the punt return team just giving us great field position all the time. So, to be able to get in that position right there to go win a game and then defense make a stop, it just epitomizes what you want out of a football team when you go out and, have a great game all around the week before and then find a game where you don't have your best stuff. So to find us, being able to kind of come together there at the end, is, the atmosphere we want here.
Last week, it looked really easy for the offense. Today, it didn't look so easy. What changes between the games, or is it entirely the defense that affects that? Or
it's every game is unique. I mean, sometimes it's matchup based, sometimes it's strictly cover based. It's everything. Scott's always dialed, right? So his play calls, for the most part, 99% of the time, if I go through my reads properly, my foot properly, there's going to be a play there. There was times today where, I, not panic, but try to get off my read and make a play, and it worked at times and didn't work at other times, and there's plays there. So it's a great reminder as a quarterback and as a vet, just stick true to what you're supposed to do and who you are, and not try to do too much, and allow a lot of things to come to you.
when it has gone so well the week before, and then it's more of a struggle, is it frustrating, or do you look at it as just the game?
No, not frustrating. We know we're not going to go out and score 50 every game.
Have rain all across the area, and yeah, I know it's just rain, but it has caused so many issues out on the road.
It could come out. It could be a blowout next week. It could be, another dogfight. Like, you just have no idea. It's we're going to make adjustments. They're going to make adjustments. Matchups might change, around, the positions, but regardless, now you've got guys that are going to go out and have to win one-on-one battles and fight.
Oh, in terms of this offense, how good is this offensive line? Even with some great teams and great receiving cores, how's this offensive line and receiving core relate to some of the other teams that you play for?
Yeah, I don't want to speak about the other teams. I'm going to say this. I could be we got guys in the waiting as well. The O-line group spends more time in this building than almost anybody. So it's amazing to be behind them with a group that cares so much. They want to be here. They care about each other. We're going to go hang out this weekend together and just enjoy it. And the receivers, I mean, there's dogs everywhere. I understand the kid's getting the ball, but he's also one of the highest plays, right? So my job is to continue to take my drop, see my read, and throw the ball to the guy that's open.
Bull, how much does it mean to the Giants to have a winning record at this point of the season for the first time in 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a winning record, you can sit, close to, if not at the top of the East, it means a lot. We have a goal in mind, and our goal wasn't just to be in first place, 5 weeks in. It's to hoist a cup over our head, but that's a vision that we're working towards, and we know that we're nowhere near that right now. We have a lot of work to do. We're not going to allow ourselves to get too high or too low at any moment. After big wins like last week or after struggles like this week, if we lost that game, we'd have came out here and worked the exact same this next week against Ottawa. So, we're excited. Obviously, everybody in the organization is pumped, but we've got a lot of work to do.
You talk about every game being different, but is there in winning without your best stuff?
Yes.
Team winning without your best stuff.
Oh, for sure.
Like you can learn from it, but it also doesn't cost you.
Oh, 100%. It makes you understand as a player, as a team, as a whole, that when you don't have your best stuff, it doesn't mean you're going to lose a game, right? You can trust and lean on defense to tighten up, offense to find their way, or vice versa, right? Last week you're asking yourself, if we're scoring 51 points, it should be an absolute blowout. But they had a great third and fourth quarter there at the end to kind of make a comeback, and we had to keep driving as an offense, right? So, tonight we needed defense, and they were there. They stepped up, and I mean, it's so fun to watch. It felt like every time I picked up the iPad, everybody in the stands was screaming, and we were running back on the field. So I can't wait to watch that film and watch the defense and just kind of admire the amazing game they had.
I think you said something at the beginning, I may have misheard, but that you saw some stuff that was different. Did they do something on defense that you guys hadn't seen before?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, every team does, right? Every team plays us differently, myself differently. They play our core a little bit differently, but I mean, that's also every team in the league is going to walk out there and run man coverage, run cover zero, and run one zone coverage. Like, they're going to switch it up. They're going to try to take away the spots where you throw the ball the most, the player you throw the ball the most to, try to take away certain things in the run game. And that's what football is. It's chess at times, it's checkers at other times. So go out there and just, continue to do your thing. Yeah.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
That was Bo Levi Mitchell of Tagger Cats, and that was courtesy of my YouTube channel, Chris Pame Live with CDP Talk Show. And again, I want to say thank you to the Hamilton Tagger Cats organization, Courtney and Juliana, for my media pass. And I will be back at Hamilton Stadium on Friday, September 12th, to cover the Cats game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And speaking of CFL, the Argo Bounce podcast show is back after a bye week. Nick and I will be on the air tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 on the West Coast, hopefully with a special guest from TSN. And Nick and I are going to break down the Argos' loss to the Cats a week ago and preview the game against the Montreal Alouettes this Thursday night. And looks like Davis Alexander will be starting for the Alouettes. We'll find out. Nick is going to be at the Toronto Argonauts practice this morning right now, and we'll see who's going to be the Argos starting quarterback going in Thursday night. It'll either be Chad Kelly or Nick Arbuckle. So I'm looking forward to this show with Nick and hopefully our guest from TSN. So make sure you check us out, and we will be on all these same live streaming platforms along with all the audio platforms as well. So fan of the Argonauts, CFL, Argo Bounce podcast show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. As we wrap up this show, guys, check out the summer event drive at Barry Cullen Chevrolet dealership. 2025 Equinox LT all-wheel drive midnight edition. You can lease from $218 bi-weekly. That's like $109 weekly at 4.9% financing for 24 months with a $5,600 down payment on an ultra-low kilometer lease. More details at barrycullen.com or pop by the dealership at 905 Woodlawn Road West in the Guelph Automall, and make sure you tell the dealership Chris Pame sent you as well. As we wrap up this show, guys, if you'd like a personalized video message from yours truly, CDP, go to cameo.com and type in Chris Pame. happy birthday wishes, happy anniversary, pep talk. If you'd like to talk to me about my talk show, some of my favorite interviews, my show that was on a radio station for a couple years, and what my goals are, check me out on cameo.com/Chris Palme and book your cameo today. And I look forward to doing your requests. And as we wrap up the show, guys, you can now follow me on Blue Sky Social. Blue Sky Social is like what Twitter used to be, at Live with CDP, at Live with CDP 19 on Blue Sky Social, and I post on there regularly as well. And as we wrap up this show, guys, if you're in the Cambridge area and you're looking to adopt a pet, check out the Cambridge District Humane Society at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge, Ontario. Telephone number 519-623-7722, extension 0, or visit the website cambridgehumanesociety.org. All the animals that are up for adoption there, their profiles are on cambridgehumanesociety.org. And if you're looking to volunteer like I do twice a week as a dog walker at the Cambridge District Humane Society, go to the website, click on the volunteer application, and start the process there as well. And the Cambridge District Humane Society right now are looking for gift cards to the Dollarama store, cat litter, dog treats, cat treats, bedding. And also every Wednesday, the Cambridge District Humane Society does a pet emergency fund for those people in the Cambridge area who are struggling financially with the cost of dog and cat and pet food. If you have some dog food, cat food you would like to donate, please feel free to drop it off at 1650 Dunbar Road in Cambridge. It's right across from the Cambridge Center Mall, and the staff and Michelle, their executive director, do a really great job in looking after our homeless furry friends and making sure they get adopted into the right home with the right family. So the Cambridge District Humane Society, please check them out as well. Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show, again, is live streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Twitch, LinkedIn, and now available on my website. If you'd like to check out my work, is on beacons.ai/Chris D. Palme. You can also follow this content creator on TikTok at Chris Palme and check out my latest TikTok content from the Hamilton Tiger Cats 23-20 win over Ottawa this past Saturday night. StreamYard is the official live stream provider of Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. If you're into webinars or podcasting or just live streaming in general, go to StreamYard.com. They have basic free plans. They also have paid professional plans like I have. And if you're a business that does a lot of webinars or live streaming, StreamYard.com and the sales department or sales price as well. And yours truly is with StreamYard now over 4 years and counting. Big thumbs up to StreamYard.com. Finally, guys, Live with CDP Sports and Entertainment Talk Show. The audio version is on these platforms: iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify for podcasters, Podcast, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Spotify, Castbox, LinkedIn, Pandora, Tuned In, YouTube Music, and Good Pods. And remember to subscribe and hit the follow notification. Finally, guys, you can email the show Live with CDP Sports Entertainment Talk site, gmail.com. Any comments? And my YouTube channel, I am on PayPal. Go to paypal.com and my email host, or support my YouTube channel and my talk show here as well. So thank you. And finally, guys, you can follow me on Facebook, Threads, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, everywhere except Snapchat. And also, please remember, check out my YouTube channel, Chris Palme Live with CDP Talk Show. Make sure you hit the subscribe and like notification. And I want to say thank you to my 646 subscribers and counting. And I am going on 500,000 views. So thank you for subscribing and for watching my YouTube channel as well. And please check out my latest content on my YouTube channel with my post-game interviews and pre-game interviews with members of the CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats as well. And speaking of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they're back in action this Sunday night at 7 o'clock when the Tiger Cats take on Ottawa again, but this time at TD Place Stadium in Ottawa. So we'll see if the Red Blacks can get a win against Hamilton at home this Sunday night. And Thursday night football is Argos and Alouettes as well. And hopefully we have a special guest tonight on the Argo Bounce podcast show. So please check us out as well. And I want to say thank you to my guest today, stand-up comedian out of Atlanta, Georgia, Amanda Goldstein Marks, for coming on here. And please check out her podcast show that she does with her sister Allison, Sis Tell Podcast. Their podcast is available where all podcasts are available. And I want to say thank you again to Amanda Goldstein Marks for coming on here today, and to my sponsor, Barry Cullen Chevrolet. Major League Baseball All-Star Game tonight, American League, National League from Atlanta, Georgia. Pre-game coverage 7 o'clock, first pitch at 8 o'clock, and then there are 7 Detroit Tigers on that team, including the starting pitcher Tarek Skudrow. And as for the Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is on the team as a first baseman, and Alejandro Kirk is the catcher for the American League All-Stars. And as we wrap the show up, guys, I want to say repeat to Jim Clancy, my deepest sympathies and condolences to Jim Clancy's family, friends, and teammates. Jim passed away yesterday at the age of 69, and Jim was a Major League Baseball pitcher from 1977 to 1991. Spent his first 12 years with the Toronto Blue Jays as their number 9 Dave Steve. 140 games, was an all-star in 1982, and 6+ times in his career he pitched over 200 innings. Jim, a good teammate and a good guy, and I had my picture taken with him at 1980 Stadium Photo Day with the Blue. That is about it, guys. Again, I want to say thank you to Amanda Goldstein Marks for coming on, and to Barry Cullen Chevrolet for sponsoring this show, and look forward to the Argo Bounce podcast show tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 on the West Coast, with Nick Small and myself. I hope everybody has a great afternoon, and we'll see you later tonight for the Argo Bounce podcast show.